Bright day, everyone. We are the Group 4, and today we are going to discuss a world of ideas, globalization of religion, and globalization of gender. So, understanding globalization. So, religion influences how people think, behave, and interact globally. So, it means that religion influences how people think in the ways of how they view the world, how they make decisions, and how they understand their life's purpose. So, it gives them framework of kung unsa ang insakto or dili, maayo ba na siya or dili, and through teachings, traditions, and beliefs, religion influences people's moral reasoning, values, and prioritize in life. So, example on how people think in Christianity or Christian people. So, Christian people think that they should forgive others and help those in need. So, because that's what God's want because nakastate siya sa Bible. So, that's how the mindset or that's how the people think, that's how the Christian people think. Another example is in Buddhism. So, in Buddhism naman, Buddhism people think that they should forgive others. Buddhism people think that all life is a creed. So, tanan ko nga butang is related to God. So, they should avoid harming any living creature. So, because they believe in the Buddhism principle called non-violence or ginatawag sa ilaha nga ahimsa, which gatuo pud sila sa idea of karma that good or bad consequences brings good or bad actions brings consequences. So, for example, ang mga Buddhism people, if nanakit sila og mga animals, so mabalikan sila og bad consequences. So, that's why gatuo sila nga tanan nga butang connected to God. That's how they think. Another example naman is mga Islam religion or kanang mga Muslims. So, mga Islamic people believe that they should be honest and just in all actions because Allah is watching them. Ing ana naman mo think ang mga tao sa ang mga Islamic nga tao. So, religion also influences how people think or how people behave in the ways of how people act, how they speak, how they make their choice in their daily life. So, religion teaches people's value such as to value honesty, kindness, respect, discipline, and self-control. So, people often behave in certain ways because their religion gives them moral guidelines. Because ang mga religion, may different sila nga guidelines kung unsa ang insakto nga buhaton ug unsa ang dili insakto. Kung paano sila pud muak or musturya sa uban nga tawo. So, and also globalization of religion influences how people interact globally because kung paano i-respect, i-understand sa mga tao ang religion sa uban, ang mga religion nila, paano i-respect i-understand sa tao ilahang mga beliefs and practices sa ilahang religion globally. So, globalization has allowed to spread and transform across culture. So, So, ang globalization, na-spread ni siya in different ways. And gi-transform niya itong cultures in different ways. For example, ang globalization was spread through travels. So, sa through travels, example naman diri is in the Philippines that we are colonized by the Spaniard, which is na-colonize na nila sa Catholicism. So we also gi-adapt na to ang Catholicism or Catholic, and we celebrate fiestas like honoring Saint Patron, Christmas party, like na-adapt na to ang relihiyon sa uban nga country through travels because na-colonize ta. Another naman, globalization has allowed to spread and transform across cultures through migration. So when people move from one country to another, bringing their beliefs and tradition and religious practices with them. So for example, sa Filipino people abihing adto siya og abroad sa Saudi Arabia, and gidala niya iyang beliefs and practices, pero hing-adapt siya og Islamic nga religion while gina-preserve niya ang iyang beliefs and practices diri sa Pilipinas. And another one, because of the globalized world, so na ang religion na spread siya and transform across cultures through media and internet, because like television, radio, films, social media, and internet, religion can now reach people anywhere in the world. So for example, aning media and the internet, so many Christian churches gina-broadcast nila ilang Sunday services on sharing Bible teaching through YouTube, television, and people from through YouTube, television, TikTok, Instagram. So people from different countries pwede sila makaparticipate sa Bible teaching sa mga Christian churches without being physically presented. So mas spread yapon siya ang religion globally. So before exploring, we must first understand the meaning of religion. So defining religion. So religion religion has been defined differently by scholars and practitioners. And this definition will help us understand religion's role in society and personal life. So because religion has been diversely defined both academically by theories in the field of social sciences and subjectively by people who engage in it. So let's review some important academics perspective. First, we have Emile Durkheim's 1912. So Emile Durkheim was a sociologist who studied religion from a social science perspective. And he believed that a unified system of beliefs and practices relative to sacred things which unite into one single moral community called church, and all those who adhere to them, according to Emile Durkheim 1912. So bawat pasabot ani is that religion is organized kuno nakapasunod. It's not just about random beliefs. According to Emile Durkheim, kapasunod ni siya, this includes nakapasunod og ilang teachings, ilang rituals and tradition that guide people how people should think and act. So for example, kanang sa Catholic. So Catholic teachings, rituals and tradition, if manimba ka, so mga Catholic, before sila mo start, mo pray pa sila, and mo start jud sa panguros. So that's the teachings and rituals nga gina-practice sa mga Catholics. Ug also sa flow sa ilang simba may pangalawat pod. So and according to Emil Durkheim, these practices will unite people in the church, and the ritual they practice is the way to connect to God. So Emil Durkheim's definition of religion, first, religion is observable and can be studied objectively. So it means that religion can be studied like other social behaviors. So people can observe kung paano ang tao mo attend sa church, paano sila mo pray, or paano sila mo celebrate og religious holiday like Christmas, like nga. So for example, ang may usa ka estudyante gistudihan niya ang mga Filipino Catholics kung paano sila mag-gather during simbang gabi, shows religion's role in promoting unity and tradition. Even though ang research doesn't need to be Catholic. So second, we have religion is a organized system of beliefs and practices. So ang organized nakapasunod kuno nga belief and practices ang religion according to Emil Durkheim. So this includes teachings or mga beliefs about divine and the rituals or mga practices like prayer, fasting or ceremonies, like sa relihiyon nilang mayor mga apostolic, so may fasting sila, or before mo start ang atong mga misa sa simbahan, so mo start yung taog prayer. So example naman ani is mga sa Christianity. So mga Christianity or mga Christian people or mga Christian believers follows Bible teaching and practice rituals like sa Baptist, sa Apostolic, sa mga Catholics like communion. So third, we have religion creates a moral community through shared sacred values. So example, the Christian church unites believer to serve others and avoid sin and practice compassion and forgiveness, creating a shared moral foundation. Next, we have Karen's Field interpretation in 1995. So Karen Field was a sociologist who translated Durkheim's work, clarified and expanded on his ideas. So Karen Field emphasizes that Durkheim's view of religion as a social phenomenon. So she believed that sacredness is socially constructed through shared beliefs. Ana si Karen Field. So religion binds people together to create a moral collective community. Next, we have Kenneth Pargament definition of religion. So Kenneth Pargament believed that religion is a process, a search for significant in ways related to sa creed. So ang religion kuno usa kuno ka process para mangita ka og meaning, purpose og mga related siya nga mga way kung paano ka makakunik ka God kuno. So this means that it's searching about meanings, purpose, and significant in life, but always connected or always in connection with God. So, in other words, people turn to religion. Ang mga tao mo join sila sa usa ka religion para mahibaw-an nila kung anong ga-exist ko aning kalibutan na. Unsay purpose sa akong kinabuhi o unsang importante nga obrahon sa akong kinabuhi. So especially when facing life's challenges. So this search happens when a person who lost their job prays to God and who lost their job. This search happens through prayers, worship, moral living, and belongings to religious communities. So, example, ang usa ka tawo natangtang siya sa iyang obra, which is nanimba siya and pray siya ka sa Ginoo og hope and guidance. So, through religion, ang natangtang nga tawo nangita siya meaning. Nganong nahitabo man ni sa iyaha, nganong natangtang man siya sa iyahang obra. Then nangita siya comfort. So ana siya nga God has planned for me. Basi gitangtang siguro ko ni Lord aning obraha because tagaan ko niya og nami nga opportunity or tagaan ko niya mas nami nga opportunity. So and also si Kenneth Fargament also believed that spirituality is search for the sacred. So spirituality is more on personal and individual religion. While ang religion, mao ni siya ang mga organized beliefs and communities. Ang spirituality naman, mao naman ni siya ang atong one's own inner journey, direct connection to God. So, Kenneth Fargament definition of religion. So according to Kenneth Fargament, so ang religion is an organized search for meaning linked to sacred. So it means that ang religion ko nakapasunod ilahang teaching rituals, traditions, and belief kanang kung paano sila makakonect ka God. And spirituality, personal and individual pursuit to sacred, like prayers, meditation, worshiping God. So spirit, and si Kenneth Fargament believed that spirituality is religion most critical function. So next we have personal meanings of religion. So people hold subjective and private meanings of religion. So motivation for religious affiliation varies. So first we have social connection. So belongings to a group according to Van Capellen na et al. 1917. So buot ani pasabot is ang people who go to church is ma-help nila ang each other. So next we have coping mechanism, handling life challenges according naman kay Fargament, and moral experience, feeling the divine according to Rankin, moral control, promoting ethical behaviors like ilahang rules, mga moral rules of what is right or wrong. Ang mga practices nila kung unsang insakto nga buhaton. So again, globalization of religion. So globalization has allowed religion to spread and adapt culture worldwide. Because of the globalized world, mas maka-adapt ta through technology na, through media and internet easily. So ma-adapt na to ang other culture bisag naarata diri sa ato ang lugar, and makita na to ang video sa ilahang culture, ilang mga beliefs and practices or ilang mga rituals. Then leads to interfaith interaction, hybrid practices, and new form of spirituality. It promotes both unity, tension among different faiths community.
So, as the continuation, religion in the age of globalization. Having articulated the meanings that people attach to religion and religious experience, the question we ask now, is this in the time when rapid and widespread globalization of economic, political, and cultural information and process? Where does religion lie in the greater scheme of things? So, in this time of rapid globalization, religion still plays an important role, but its influence is changing. People are now more connected and exposed to many beliefs and cultures. Religions continue to guide people's values and identity, but it also adapts to modern life like online worship or interfaith activities. So, even in a globalized world, religions doesn't disappear. It changes and continues to find its place in modern society. So next, we have the secularization. Vector Rodomitov 2014 explained how religious roles in society has changed in the modern world. Secularization showed the growing separation between the church and the state as people begin to live life beyond religion. So, secularization means the process where religion slowly loses its influence over different parts of society. Viktor Rudomitov 2014 explained that in the modern world, people are starting to separate religion from other areas like politics and education. So it simply means that people are living to live their lives not only based on religion beliefs, but also through reasons, science, and human rights. However, according to Stark 1999 said that even if the modernization happens, religions does not really disappear. People still to continue to practice their faith in different ways. For instance, even in a modern cities where technology and globalization are strong, many still attend church, pray, or follow their spiritual traditions. So, secularization doesn't mean religion is gone. It means its role in society has changed. Next, according to Rudomitov, there are two main ways to look at secularization today. First, the post-circulatory or the return of religious consciousness in public sphere. So, which means that religion is returning or remaining active in a public life. Even if we live in a modern world, religion still influences how people think and act. For example, religious festivals, moral values, or even leaders who base their action on faith. The The second one is religious modernity, where secularization is an active process emerging from social action. So, which means religion is adjusting to modern life instead of fading away. For example, churches now use social media to reach people. Online prayers are common, and religious teaching are shared through technology.
Religious pluralism and tolerance. One of the consequences and promoters of globalization is cultural diversity, as people let ideas flow in and flow out of geographical spaces. We bring in and out as well our beliefs, values, and traditions. We shared from old religions the Jewish experience of exile or diaspora when they were sent out from the land of Israel and scattered throughout different parts of the world. Today, the same journey is taken by people. The age of diaspora in the contemporary times happened for various reasons, and as people move in and out of territories, they also carry them with their religious affiliation and correspondent philosophies and practices. It is therefore common in globalized world to have smaller groups of people within communities whose culture are quite different from the rest. Imagine, for instance, a Chinatown is bustling European country or a Filipino community in the Middle East. The phenomenon when a small group of shared identity maintains their cultural practices as long as it aligns with the larger society norms is referred to as cultural pluralism. In the context of religion, cultural pluralism requires a certain form of religious tolerance, allowing others to abide by their own religious practices and beliefs, such as consenting the establishment of places of worships. Religious tolerance is quite essential in fostering peace in the community. Study among university students, it was found that adolescents tend to be more tolerant when they realize how religious tolerance is part of their religious beliefs and when they are allowed to appreciate the entire spectrum of their religious traditions, rather be religious exclusively with legal style ideology. It was mentioned in Firdaus 2018 page chapter 1. An interesting case in understanding the concept of religious pluralism in the age of globalization is that the Baha'i faith, a small religion with approximately 7 million followers around the globe. So Baha'i upholds principle of equality and social justice, peace and unity, world citizenship and cultural pluralism, among others.
Okay class, let's discuss the religious fundamentalism. Althusser and Hans Becker in 1942 defined religious fundamentalism as the belief that there is one set of religious teaching that clearly contains the fundamental basic, intrinsic, essential, inherent truth about humanity and deity. That this essential truth is fundamentally opposed by the forces of evil, which must be vigorous fought, that this truth must be followed today according to the fundamental, unchangeable practices of the past, and that those who believe and follow this fundamental teaching have a special relationship with the deity. So means that some people believe only their religions hold the complete and absolute truth about life and humanity and God. They see their belief as a perfect, unchangeable, and sacred, while viewing others' belief or religion as wrong or evils. So, when we say one set of religion teaching is fundamental or fundamentalist belief that only their religion has the real truth and all other religions or ideas are mistaken. So, and when we say naman is opposed by forces of evil which must be fought, they think that people or groups who disagree with their beliefs are influenced by evil, so they must be resist or fight against them. So must be followed according to unchangeable practices of the past. So they rejected modern changes or new interpretation of the faith, believing that old tradition and teaching must always be followed exactly as before, as old. So those who followed this teaching, especially sa relationship with the deity, they believe that only true followers of their faith are close to God and will be rewarded for their obedience. For example, Christian fundamentalist might believe that every word in the Bible must be interpreted literally, and that modern scientists or scientific explanation like evolution are false or against God's will. Studies have established that it relates to cognitive and affective processes that influence behavior by Mass in 2014. So, fundamentalism affects by the way people think or cognitive and feel affective, in which in turn shape according how the behavior or the act. For example, if someone strongly believes that only their religion is true, they may think negatively about about others' beliefs, or feel anger or fear towards other groups, and behave in a way that discriminates or isolate themselves from others. So, kumbaga is fixed mindset na sila about sa ila religion na or ang ila religion is the only true. It is linked to some form of conflict and hostility toward people of different belief system. So meaning that fundamentalism that can lead to tension, conflict, or even violence against those who believe differently, because mayroon sila ng different beliefs mo. So for example, some religious group may refuse to cooperate or argue or even fight with people who do not share their beliefs, seeing them as enemies or sinners. Yilmaz in 2006 opened that religion fundamentalism manifests in two ways. According to him, religious fundamentalism can show itself or manifest into main forms of or expression. First is cognitive and behavioral. So in cognitive, it is rigid and literal interpretation of religious teaching, and sa behavior, it is showing those beliefs through strict practices, rejection of modern values, or holistic towards outsiders. Non-violent intolerance or extreme identification with a particular religion. So this means showing a strong bias or closed-mindedness, katong hambal ko ginang is fixed mindsets towards other religion but without using physical violence. So it happens when someone extremely identifies with their own religion and believes it is only the true faith. Like for example, people with this attitude may reject, criticize, or look down on their or on other belief system, yet they do not physical harms others. Their intolerance is shown through words, attitudes, or social inclusion, not action of violence. Like for example, a person who refuses to make friends with people from other religions or constantly says that their faith is the only right one is showing non-violent tolerance, and that is the example of non-violence intolerance. So let's proceed to the violent intolerance. So violent intolerance is directed use of physical violence in pursuing subjective defined religion's mission. So means or meaning, this is happen when individuals or groups use physical violence to promote or defend their religious beliefs. The beliefs that harming others or fighting for their faith is a part of their religious duty or mission. Um, These forms of fundamentalism leads to terrorism, wars, or persecution of people who believes or have different beliefs. In his Foreign Affairs article, The Clash of Civilization, which accumulated into a book, The Clash of Civilization, and the Remarking of the World Orders or Order. So, Huntington argued that after the Cold War or future global conflicts would not be mainly about politics or economics, but rather about culture and religions. He believed that the world is divided into several civilizations such as Western, Islamic, Hindu, Confucians, and others. And that differences in religions, cultures, and values among these civilizations would become the main source of tension and conflicts. Civilization as the main units of conflicts instead of countries fighting over territory or ideology. Huntington said that cultural and religious identity would cause future clashes. Example of civilization is atong mga Western or mga like for example Europe, America. Then Islamic, it is a parts of Middle East or parts of the Asia and Africa. Hindu, mga Indian, Confucians, mga China or sa East Asia, and other like mga African or America or Latin. Samuel Huntington in 1993 to 1990 hypothesized that in the post-Cold War world, economic and fundamental source of conflicts, cultural instead of economic and political. He suggests that the divine in humanity is mainly cultural as seen from diverse civilization, which with own worldviews and value system. He further suggests that this cultural affiliation will trigger discords and thus lead to inter-civilization conflicts. There are diverse views about this hypothesis, some adhering to it as potentially true, and others suggesting that it is plainly a fundamental attribution error. So he said that in the past Cold World War, the main source of conflicts would no longer be economic or political but cultural. He meant Huntington believes that humanity is divided into different civilizations, each with its own culture, religions, values, and worldview. Because of these differences, he predicted that future wars and tension would happen between cultures or civilization, not between nations or ideologies. Like for example, instead of countries fighting over money or power, conflicts might arise between the Western civilization, like for example mga Europe and North America, and the Islamic civilization, mga Middle East naman sila nga parts of the Asia, because of their different religions and moral beliefs. That's why butang sang conflicts or mga tensions. Inter-civilization conflict. So what is the meaning of that? So Huntington said that this cultural division would cause discord, meaning disagreements, hostility, or even wars between civilization. This is what he called the clash of civilization.
The globalization of religion. So globalization fostered the globalizations of religion, where universal religious theme intertwined with a local specificities, leading to the spread of transnational religious practices. So major world religions originated in the specific regions like the Middle East and Asia, and spread globally through cultural exchange expedition during colonialism. So in the age of the globalization, Rudiment of 2013-2014 suggested four forms of localization. So what are these? These are: first is vernacularization, second is indigenization, third is nationalization, and last is the transnationalization. So each form can be described as follows. First, let's discuss the vernacularization. So vernacularization, linking with the religious universalisms with vernacular language. The sacred practices remain to be tied to particular sacred language. So imagine a religion that has a rules and prayers in an old special language, just like sa ating Catholic masses. So for centuries, it was being written in Latin and said by Latin, so few people would understand. But since vernacularization occur, means that translating these rules and prayers into our regular language, so that makaintindi na subong sa ating mga readings, sa scripture, sa Bibles. So most especially mas ma-understand na sa kabilugan, and also ma-follow tayo na ang mga rules. Second is the indigenization. So indigenization, linking religious universalism with local particularism. So religious practices are blended with indigenous practices. So indigenization is this is when a religion that meant for everyone mix with the custom of a local place, just like sa Africa. So some African religion blend their beliefs into Christian practices, just like sa ilang mga African mga dances, mga rituals, and also sa some pastors practice or use some traditional symbols and teaching stories to explain Christian concepts. Third is, let's go to nationalization. So nationalization is the universal religion and local and national particularism emergence of local religions with universal religion. So nationalization is the making a religion a part of a national identity, where national and religion identities are linked or non-merged, just like sa Catholic. So Catholic is a universal religion since here in the Philippines we tend to celebrate a special celebration, just like mag-approach ng aton nga Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So we celebrate aton nga pre-dawn masses or aton nga simbang gabi, and also the Atatian Festival, where we celebrate the religious and with indigenous roots, since it is our local tradition. Then also it devotion to our local saints. Last is the transnationalization. So transnationalization's absorption of universal religion into one's own materialization of religion. It allegiance to global religious community. So transnationalization is the process of religious belief, rituals, and practices spreading and being reconfined across national borders through networks, migration, and technology. So ang transnationalization means ang sa person na go sa ibang place to migrate. So ang iyang religion, example sa mag-go ka sa Thailand, so mas ibang tradition, and also mayroon mga tradition. So ang iyang mga tradition ma-adapt naman. So we are creating a communication through sa traditional natin nga mga culture, and also we are also celebrating their holidays, and also mangin part man ta sa global tradition nga ginatawag, but we are also actively participating sa local expressions of that faith. That's all. Thank you.
So let's discuss globalization and gender. So what is globalization and gender? The World Bank shaping the 21st century World Development Report in 1999 and 2000 draws the attention of the strong reaction provoked by globalization, both positive and negative. According to this report, globalization is a praise for the opportunities it brings us, such as access to markets and technology transfer, but it is also feared and condemned because they of the instability and risk that can accompany it. So the first slide, it talks about globalization, which means countries are becoming more connected with each other. The World Bank report on 1999-2000 says that globalization has a good and bad side. It is good because it gives people more chances, like selling products to other countries and learning new technology. Example is a small Filipino business can sell handmade bags online to buyers from other countries. But it's also had a bad because it can bring problems like money, instability, and job loss. So let's discuss the second slide. So the foreign investment, the international competition can help poor economies to modernize, increase their productivity, and raise living standards. At the same time, it can threaten the livelihoods of workers. It can undermine banks, and it can be destabilize whole economies. When flows in foreign capital overwhelm them, the globalization process thus
offers opportunities as well as challenges of or human development and gender equality. So the second slide is all about explains that the foreign investments, money in other countries, and international competition can help poor countries and improve. They can make more jobs, increase productivity, and give people better life. For example, if a foreign company builds a factory in the Philippines, many local people can work and earn money. However, globalization can also cause trouble. Some workers may lose jobs, banks can be affected, and economy can become quickly unstable in foreign money and quickly lives with a country. So that's all. Thank you.
Great day, everyone. I am Chalbert Jepta Aiken from BTL Ed IA, and I will be continuing the discussion. And I will discuss what impact has globalization had on gender equality. Several factors associated with a more global world strengthen and incentives for action toward greater gender equality. Globalization is shifting gender rules and norms. What impact has globalization has on the gender equality? Women from whom existing constraints are most binding are often left behind, while the forces unleashed by globalization have lifted some of the barriers to a greater gender equality. Public action is needed to lift this further. In particular, public policy needs to address gender gaps in endowment agency and access to economic opportunities. In short, globalization can exacerbate existing gender inequalities, leaving women behind in constraints are not addressed. The world has witnessed an enormous economic transformation over the past 3 decades, fostering by increasing global flows and the goods of service, and technology and information. This change has transformed the way domestic and global market and institution functions, and have this changed the economic landscape for individuals, households, firms, and governments. Public policy is crucial to build gender gaps, endowment agency, and access to economic opportunities. Globalization has brought increase to economic opportunities, trade openness, and the spread of information and communication technology have increased women's access to economic opportunities and in some cases increased their wages relative to men's, growth in export and ICTs in every sectors, together with a decline in the importance of physical strength and the rise of the importance of cognitive skills, has increased the demand of female laborers. ICT has also increased access to markets among female farmers, and entrepreneurs by easing time and mobility constraints. So, globalization, through the trade openness and ICT, has improved women's access to jobs and sometimes increased their own wages. Several factors associated with a more global world strengthen the incentives for action toward greater gender equality. Gender inequality is more costly in an integrated world because it diminishes a country's ability to compete internationally, particularly if a country specializes in female-intensive goods and services. Integrated world makes gender inequality more costly, especially in female-intensive industries. International peer pressure has also led some countries than ever to ratify treaties against discrimination. International pressure lead more treaties against discriminations. Growing media exposure and consumer demands for better treatment of workers has pushed multinationals toward fairer wages and better working conditions for women. Media exposure and consumer demands pushes for fairer treatment of women. Globalization is shifting gender roles and norms. Increased access to information primarily through television and the internet allows countries to learn about social norms and other places, which can change perceptions and promotes the adoption of more egalitarian attitudes. The access of information via television and the internet changes perception and promote more egalitarian attitudes. Economic empowerment for women reinforce this process by promoting changes in gender roles and allowing women to influence time allocations, shift relative power within the household, and exercise agency more broadly. Women economic empowerment reinforces change in gender roles, influencing time, allocating the power dynamic system. Globalization can advance gender equality but require public to eliminate gender gaps.